We'll get in this match right now underway, and we can already see that this seed is the worst and no sword does mean. I'm still waiting for that lovely sword opening. So of course, gloin and Mrzwanzig both went 5-2 in their previous stage of this tournament. And we're getting the King of Burna start here. This is some extremely early silver arrows that our players will be picking up, and definitely will be looking forward to getting that bow at some point. The bow always being required in order to beat any seed. Mrzwanzig had a very interesting journey throughout the first stages. He started off with a loss in week 1 before taking 5 straight wins. Gloin here is going to opt to pick up some additional 20 rupees. Both our players already set with that bomb. Always very valuable to pick that one up, so you can check the 3 shots at the back of escape. And of course, you would also want to find some rupees for the bottle merchant, that being 100 rupees. Possibly that you also need to find 50 additional rupees, so you can buy those bombs in Kakariko. And for those unaware of how the situation is in this stage of the tournament, these are best of 3 matches. You need 2 wins in order to go through to the next round. This is single elimination. This is the first match in this best of 3. And early on, of course, you're always looking for items that will help you speed up the escape sequence, hookshot, boots, and mirror being particularly effective at that. Mrzwanzig is going to use 1 pot on the green guard and then opting for... Is he going to double pot here? Yeah, he's going to double pot. And the pots are surprisingly powerful weapons, and getting hit by one inflicts some serious damage. With some arrow in the back and Zelda following suit. It's a little bit of a break here, moving back to the castle entrance. So far, not a whole lot in terms of equipment that our players have acquired. The King of Burna just being a safety item in general. Can kill Moldorms pretty effectively with it. And land Molas if the seed does want you to do that, sadly. Silver arrows are going to be much more useful later on when they actually find the ever so needed bow. So for now, it's mostly going to be interesting to see if they're going to try and do some additional farming to try and find some more bombs or some more rupees, or maybe they'll just try and rely on the tree pulse or the crab coming out of escape. And as we push Big Statue, we entered the back of escape. Rats and snakes tend to be quite close to each other, so the king is pretty effective at killing several of them simultaneously at the cost of very little magic. And I say that as Mrzwanzig decided to disregard them completely and just let them remain in their natural habitat. Some very nice early Sora money being picked up. the stepping stone to getting scanned by Sora. 300 rupees will definitely help you in that. Bombs is still the question here. Mrzwanzig gonna kill one additional rat here for just 20 rupees. Gloin as well, and also picking up a little bit of magic. And no bomb there for Mrzwanzig. Maybe the chest today will prove to be more useful. Well, after the previous seed I got to commentate today, that was a very disappointing backup escape. But with the map acquired, there is an item in the sanctuary chest. Plenty of rupees and no bombs coming out of escape. Well, that's a pretty cool flute you got there. You know, it's always pretty good to get the flute before you make your first trip into Kakariko. That way you're not really wasting any time going and activating the flute. Our triple of today. Oh, that's a really good triple. That's gonna solve all these early game bomb issues. Oh yeah, everything is just giving bombs now that we're out of escape. And I'm pretty certain they will not be coming back for that bug catching net. When Agam is required for the net, it's something, really. Well, there's gonna be a netless seed, everyone. I'm sorry. And the forest is an air capacity upgrade. Not really interested in that. Sadly, didn't even manage to find any bomb capacity upgrades. Would have had, well, speaking of the bomb capacity upgrades, but it's too late now. They already picked up all the bombs. Another triple? Nope. Says Mrzwanzig. What will Gloin say? He says nope. And time for a Kakariko visit. Many items, all in a very small area. I'm still looking for a lot of items here, as they haven't really found anything. Flute, nice. Death Mountain access early on. Good traveling. The Self Arrows doesn't do anything right now. Maybe Lion would have stored something up. Oh, it's just some rupees and more rupees and some love. Not really what our players are looking for at this point. They basically set in terms of rupee for now. Yeah, I mean, this is a rupee seed. All of the rupees. So you imagine when you see a seed like this, the Sora has to have 20 rupees. It just seems to be the common situation. Well, moving into the well, there's some more love. I'm not even finding any big heart containers, just some pieces. And there's been a lot of big 20s already. Oh, there is something. That mirror is very fascinating, giving Tower of Hera access thanks to that flute. As our first real major piece of progression in this seed. That's not too bad of an exchange. I think that Bottle Merchant needs to take a few lessons from King Sora. I'm gonna let you get to listen here. Trading 1 bomb for 3 bombs. Not really a worthwhile investment because of the time. Time is bombs, ladies and gentlemen. Well, very little here in terms of actual progression. I mean, the flute mirror combination is nice, but how much can you do in Tower of Hera with just the Cane of Berna? Could also just be basement locked, and then you need to find a fire source. It's very limited here. Another 20 rupee, I mean, what in the world? Just rupees everywhere. Will the race game have something? Not really. Well, that was a very disappointing Kakariko. I mean, mirror is nice, but, you know, can't really do much with it right now. There's the sword. Now, that's the item you need in order to solve the issue up in Tower of Hera. You can still require a fire source for that, though. And 20 rupees, and time for some. Just solving this bit of overpopulation here that we have in Hyrule with mini moldworms. This is not their natural habitat. It is Death Mountain. I don't know what they're doing here. More rupees, more hearts. Okay, hammer is pretty nice. And the flippers are also very nice, but I guess we will be making a very short trip to Sora here. But will we get to see Ice Arcade before that it comes to fruit? Comes to fruit? What? That I screwed up that sentence. That was not what I wanted to say. Disregard everything. Except for the hammer and the flippers. Those we do not disregard. Those we acquire. Bomb capacity on the island. So there are 4 item locations over in the Sora area in Logic. We do have the Hobo here. Hammer, thanks to the flute mirror combination, gives access to East Death Mountain. Still looking for a lot of items here, but that hammer opens up a lot. Just a regular pendant in Eastern and 2 regular crystals in our other 2 dungeons. Get to see here if Mrzwanzig is gonna move back into Ice Sword Cave after this. Last savings from the Hobo. And Ice Sword Cave is one of those caves that when it has something, otherwise it doesn't. And this time it has something in the terms of the gloves. So unless this is Moon Pearl on the pyramid, we will definitely be skipping Aga 1 this seed. And Mrzwanzig here also using the flute after Hobo to go back. Back to 8, and with that heading into Ice Sword Cave, we'll pick up his gloves. More fluting. We are really training the duck this seed. Putting it to good work. Gloin is gonna get his 50 rupees from Hobo, and Mrzwanzig is gonna make a trip to Sora. And after this, it is very likely it's gonna be a visit up to Death Mountain. All these rupees. Yeah, 20 rupees. I think we found maybe 10, 20 rupees. Gloin realizes that, oh, I have the flute. I can also do what Mrzwanzig did. And flute back to 8 and swim to Sora this way. Big hearts. Only 7. No mail upgrade. I feel like that time investment to pick up that heart is too much. Well, King, what do you have for us today? 20 rupees. I feel like I've seen that before. Mrzwanzig back to Link's house, taking out the flute, and oh, this is an interesting decision to check this desert legend of Gina. Well, that's an interesting location to see that lamp. Is that our first fire source or not? But it also means that when they get desert access, and with desert being a crystal, they can pick up the lamp and just go straight to Lanmolas after that. That's really good information to have if you're a Mrzwanzig. Will Gloin do the repeat, or will he make the trip up the Tower of Hera? Some love with Gina. Oh, actually, we're just really delaying this Death Mountain trip here. That's interesting. Gloin making the standard route, as to speak, here over at Sahasrara. And here is the Death Mountain trip, and Mrzwanzig is gonna start off here with a sequence break. He does know where the lamp is. Okay, well, there's a sword upgrade at the back of Sahasrara, and we do know where the lamp is, so Book or Mitts? Well, yeah, Book or Mitts would open up Aga 1 and the potential risk, or chance, depending on how you want to look at it, the odds, as to speak, that the moon troll could be on the pyramid. Oh, look, more 20 rupees. I'm, in general, quite a big fan of going into Eastern when it is a regular pendant, as in this seed. If you can manage to pick up all 3 items, then you know that, oh, I can just skip this for later unless it's a pedestal seed. But you're not gonna know that, and even then, unless you have the book to check the pedestal in the first place, you're not going to care about going through this dungeon again. Oh look, 20 more rupees for both players. And this looks to be 20 rupees to see thus far. I know 20 rupees is the most common item, but this still feels like it's too many too early. Mrzwanzig will be making his trip here into Tower of Hera. There's an unfortunate little map there for Gloin. Speaking of maps. So will we need a fire source for Hera? We will not, but there could still be an item in the basement. Mrzwanzig utilizing the hammer here. Map and compass means that there is an item on Armos. That's extremely unfortunate since this is a regular pendant. And unless Gloin finds the bow in here, he's not going to be able to get that item. Even if he finds the bow, he might decide to still not go through and complete it because it's a big time investment and he does not know where the lamp is. Well, there's that small key. Swan says she did not want to see that. And Gloin picks up the key in the dark. And Mrzwanzig can open up this big chest and get his first item in the dungeon at 50 rupees. Which puts us at a 50-50 here with Moldorm. Second item, or basement required. And there's the lovely Vanilla Bee Keen Eastern, or lovely and lovely, not so lovely. And hello there, Moldorm, how are you doing today? It's been a while. Oh, Moldorm really wanting to hug today. Ether in Eastern? Huh, that could be required later on. Also, Moldorm is dead. That's a really good fight there for Mr. Mrzwanzig. And he's not happy to see that compass. There's an item in the basement. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That could be something of importance later on, and that's a long trip to take to check one item location. Now, Mrzwanzig here picking up his first crystal. There is, of course, also a crystal over in Desert Palace, and with Eastern Palace having a regular pendant. I missed what was on the island. So, this is a long cave that Mrzwanzig is gonna have to walk. Very long cave. Very not interesting. Meanwhile, Gloin trying to dodge some cabbages. The player is very low on hearts here. The Spiral Cave has been finished for Mrzwanzig, and that will reward him with more bombs. We have to be very careful here. Medium Moldorms do a full heart of damage. Oh, that's an interesting bonus right there, Gloin. I've not seen that one before. I'm not too familiar with the sprite meta, but I feel like that should be at least mid-tier. This Paradox Cave here with some more junk. Let's be honest, it's junk. This is not what they're looking for right now. And Gloin still has to be very careful here. He's sitting on half a heart. Okay, there's the Moon Pearl. Aga 1 is dead. So Dark World access has been acquired by Mr. Mrzwanzig. He's done up on Death Mountain. And he's almost certainly gonna be making his trip into the Dark World. Unlikely that he's gonna make a decision to go into Eastern here, Sahasrara into Eastern. We do know that there is a sword at Sahasrara, and the Ether Medallion is in the big chest in Eastern. We also know that Armos has the third and final item. Mrzwanzig is gonna start off by going into the sometimes, I think, Hype Cave, and Gloin's gonna set up this bomb jump to the big chest. Green Pennant in Skull Woods, the other in Thieves Town, 5-6 at Swamp and Turtle Rock. This Gloin gets the bomb jump on the first try. Those are some awkward pendant location dungeons that are very easy to access, especially Thieves Town. There's a lot of items that can be in this Hype Cave, including the Crap Arrow, and also some Big Love, some more Sora, some not so Sora, some, yeah, that was a cave. That was a cave. And that was a really mean Moldorm, taking 2 floors from getting knocked into that. Ouch. Oh, that really hurts. And Mrzwanzig is proceeding through here, and I like to call this the reverse tour, because otherwise you tend to take the chest or the frog with you as you walk here. The other way from Village of Outcasts, but here is doing things the other way around and finding the shield, and then going into the shovel game, and unless you find the mitts, you're usually forced to save and quit, but in this situation with the mirror and flute combination, you may not have to do that. Of course, checking K45, finding nothing. Gloin is just... Moldorm really wants to hug today. Just very, very friendly. And unfortunately, human being things don't like being hugged by Moldorm. There we go. And Gloin cannot be happy with that, and he's not gonna be happy with his compass either. The compass ether, yes, that is also always pronounced either. Mrzwanzig found nothing in the digging game. A crystal each, and Gloin will make his trip now over to the east part of Death Mountain. Almost certainly will get the Moon Pearl. Mrzwanzig flying over to Kakariko and now making the trip into the Dark World. You tend to like to see 2 or 3 pendants in the Dark World, but when you have these 2 pendants being Skullwoods and Thieves' Town, I'm pretty certain you're not as happy. For Skullwoods, you only need the Fire Rod, but you still need the Fire Rod for Turtle Rock. Thieves' Town, you need nothing, really. You need a hammer for 1 item, but you still need the hammer for a lot of other dungeons. Ice Palace, Turtle Rock, so yeah. There's a lot of items our players will need the seed. Ether was in the big chest in Eastern Palace. Gloin made an early trip there, and we also know that there is an item at Armos. This could be an important item later on, because both Mire and Turtle Rock are required. And if the Piece of Heart is your first item in Skull Woods, I'm pretty certain you're not very happy about that. And give Gloin a little bit of time here, and he's gonna pick up his little Moon Pearl. That compass is not particularly nice. Will Mrzwanzig check the middle chest, as to speak? Or will he leave here? He's gonna go ahead and check that chest. I don't know if you need gloves to enter Thieves' Town. If someone with more knowledge than me can confirm that or not, please do so. Apparently you don't. Apparently Link is very strong, except when it comes to giant rocks. The Master Sword was in the back of Sahaswala, where Mrzwanzig has also not been to. The first sword was in the dam. Gloves is technically not needed to get into the Dark World, because I've gotten to commentate Seed where both gloves were in Swamp. Those seeds are not very fun, unless you have a lot of Schadenfreude. Mrzwanzig is doing his best here to try and get the statue into position. He has nothing to really kill these Gibdos with, and he doesn't have the boomerang to stun them. It's very rough, but we'll manage to get into position now. Try to avoid the Wallmaster. Oh dear lord, the Titan's Mitt in the back of Skull Woods. This is of course a Death Warp. Those are both items. Gloin is not going into Skull Woods. Maybe this guard will persuade him otherwise. Nope, that guard clearly told Gloin to go into Skullwoods, but Gloin is not interested in that. And here's his map check. And since Skullwoods is a pendant, it could take a long time for Gloin to go and visit that dungeon. But this opens up a lot of item locations for Mr. Mrzwanzig, as he will be able to just, with the help of the mirror, do a very effective route. Being able to utilize the, what's it called? The smith and the chest. And of course, this combination of items, Dark Depth Mountain is in logic. He can get into desert, he can pick up the lamp on Desert Ledge. He can go into Ice Palace, woohoo. He doesn't have a fire source for that though, and even if he did, he most likely wouldn't be making that play anyway. I mean, there's a lot of things that these Titansmiths opened up for Mrzwanzig. But how he will route this, we'll have to wait and see, as Gloin is making this trip here into Thieves Town. Okay, there's Bombos, now we can enter Ice. Do you want to enter Ice? I think the answer is no. Well, I mean, if the Fire Rod is in Ice, then that Bombos is required. Also, it is good to find these medallions early on so you don't have to worry about them later, especially considering both Mire and Turtle Rock are crystals. More rupees. We do have two pendant onions here, both being required as a half Matic. That's two really interesting items to find, and Gloin is heading out. I've seen this in the past being punished by there being major items in the back of Pendant Thieves Town, but I cannot blame him for deciding to skip after finding two items of that caliber. Mrzwanzig will pick up both of these, but will he continue after this? Gloin sadly not having the mitts being inside of Skull Woods. Not be able to check as many item locations, which is gonna force some sort of backtrack later on, which is going to take time. Mrzwanzig, are you leaving? You are also leaving. This could be important for both our players coming back here. If there is something more inside of Thieves Town. It is a bit interesting that Gloin decided to make the dip into Eastern and Thieves, both being pendants, but not to Skull Woods, which is the third pendant. Some bomb capacity upgrades for Gloin. He's not interested in that. And Mrzwanzig is gonna hammer down these pegs things. I don't really know what they're supposed to be, honestly. As Gloin's gonna find his first shield. Oh, more bombs. We found a lot of triple bombs this seed and a lot of 20 rupees. But the seed is starting to bring in the good stuff now. If Gloin doesn't find any progression where he's gonna go, we know that there's nothing in Hype Cave. That will at some point lead him back to Skull Woods, but if he finds something else that is important, then that may just lead him on a wild goose chase and take a long time for him to get into Skull Woods. Gloin is going to be quite disappointed with his findings in here. That big heart and the 300 rupees being the most valuable things. And the 300 rupees not really being valuable in the first place because they just have so many rupees. And gloin will be making a trip up to the pyramid. Catfish or pod following this. Since they have checked Sora, Catfish is a solo check, but you do have the mirror and flute combination to easily leave. So you don't have to just save and quit. Medallion from Meyer. Will Mrzwanzig check that? But not for now. He is interested in this lamp. And this means that the item in the Tower of Hera basement is in logic. Oh, mail upgrade on pyramid is not the worst thing in the world. Oh, that mirror location. Unfortunate for Mr. Mrzwanzig. Ether. Ether is in Eastern Palace, and this means that Eastern Palace is required. Mrzwanzig has to get back to Eastern Palace at some point. But even then, you will need the boost or the hookshot in order to get into Meyer. Oh, there's our first bottle, so Sick Kid is now back in logic. So this means that if this Bombos is required, all 3 Pennant Dungeons are required this seed. Lauren has taken the long walk here over to Catfish. Now Mrzwanzig will still be able to beat Desert unless it is boots locked. 20 rupees, I definitely feel like I've seen that one before. You disturb the fish and you get the cat fish dog, cat dog? No, wait, that's wrong series. You get a required item. Well, this seed just got very interesting. At such a far away item location, it may take a long time for Mr. Mrzwanzig to head over there. And he's already been to Hype Cave. So when is he gonna route in Catfish? He can just use the flute and head to the Palace of Darkness area, enter the Dark World there. Oh, and we need boots for Desert because the Vicky is on the torch. Oh god, this seed is rude. It's all over the place. Now we need boots as well? And we need Catfish? Are boots in the Tower of Hera basement? Please don't tell me the boots are in Tower of Hera basement. Sora has been checked. Well, this is a seed. Well, let's try and gather ourselves here now. Ether is required for Meyer, and Ether is in Eastern Palace. Catfish has Cane of Samaria, which is required. The first fire source is on the Desert Ledge. And Titan Smiths are in Pendant Skullwoods, which Gloin is getting now. Mr. Mrzwanzig is gonna buy a blue potion. He has a lot of rupees, he has the flute. Don't really blame him for this. This could be a long seed, ladies and gentlemen. A very long seed. We're 40 minutes in and still missing so many items. Bow, hookshot, boots, fire rod, ice rod, potentially quake. So many items. Now I did miss Sick Kid if Mrzwanzig went in and checked that, my bad. Oh, powder. Okay. Bottle into powder. At least it wasn't the mushroom. And Bombos is not the powder. Okay, so bottle into powder. Into a heart piece and 20 rupees on Bumper Cave. Oh, and Gloin did not check the middle chest in Skull Woods. Oh, is he going back? Huh? Gloin is having some hesitation and some thinking here. When that happens, we let our players think. And this is good, of course, as we will get the miss from this. And he does have the cane, so he's gonna save a lot of time. Mrzwanzig had a lot of trouble getting through that room. There we go, here are the myths. Both items acquired in Skull Woods. But still being the green pennant means that something can be locked behind that fire rod. And Mrzwanzig here heading over to Graveyard Ledge. This is his one real good time as to speak to check Catfish. It's this or trying to route it in with Pyramid. When you have the flute and when you have the mirror, you don't really want to check item locations that are so far away that you can't easily get to using the flute and or mirror. Yeah, just finding some more junk, and Mrzwanzig is heading back into the Dark World. And he is heading towards Catfish, and this will give him the Cane of Samaria. And with all these items, if it is a Bombo, Sand or Ether for Turtle Rock, could see a Fire Rod-less visit into Turtle Rock. Mrzwanzig has to be very careful here. He's sitting on 2 hearts. Nice Palace, of course, is somewhat fully completable. I guess it kind of depends on whether or not there is something locked behind the hookshot location. Ice Palace is just very weird when it comes to logic because of where the small key is. The first small key, that is. So Bottle, of course, Sick Kid gave the magic powder. And the bat wasn't very exciting. Mrzwanzig got himself the cane. Yep, he has not been over here at the Eastern Pod region, so this looks like a very good play for him. Even though he does not have the bow, he is running out of item locations to check. Even Dark Death Mountain right now is his Super Bunny Cave for 2 chests. Can't even do anything in Hookshot Cave. Do you want to make a Fire Rod-less dip potential into Turtle Rock? Spy Cave is in logic. There's the Tower of Hera basement, of course. These are all just kind of one-off locations at this point. But with this, Mrzwanzig will get his Master Sword here at Sahasrahla. Will likely make the trip into Eastern, that will give him Ether. We'll still need Boots or Hookshot in order to get into Mire. We will also need the Hookshot for Swamp. And we will also need the Boots for Desert. This is a seed. This is happening. Eastern cannot be beaten, which is a pendant, of course, but they do need a bow for that. They did skip out on Thieves Town after finding half magic and bombos in there, so there could still be something in the back of Thieves Town. Skullwoods, both items have been checked. Desert Palace requires boots, Palace of Darkness requires bow, Swamp Palace requires hookshot, Ice Palace may require hookshot, Mr. Mai requires hookshot for boots, Turtle Rock requires both rods. There's a lot of items we're looking for right now. They can't get a single crystal at this point. Maybe ice. Maybe under certain circumstances they can get that. It's very difficult to know how you want to route this. Mrzwanzig is gonna start off here with Palace of Darkness before going into Eastern. And there's been situations where this has been a treasure trove. But the same could be said for basically any location in the game. That treasure trove, you know, we have a bow-locked Palace of Darkness boots in the first chest. So Desert Palace is now beatable. Mystery Mire is now beatable. What in the world is going on in this seed? This looks like a forced double dip into Palace of Darkness to me. Wow. Mrzwanzig is still gonna make this dip into Eastern. This will give him Ether, will allow him to enter Mystery Mire. We also do have Bonk Rocks and King's Tome in Logic. Gloin shows a bottle for Sick Kid, gets some powder back, but please don't tell anyone. Except for the bat does appreciate the powder. That just scares the bat away so the bat doesn't plague the rest of the citizens of Kakariko. Well, now Gloin has to make a trip over to Palace of Darkness to get one item. Mrzwanzig does have that full bottle, picked up a blue potion, so he could have done the bottle glitch. But even then, we do know the bow is not in Palace of Darkness, and therefore he could still not be able to clear that dungeon. Oh, and Gloin, are you making the trip into ice? I think you are. This is not a bad decision. But Mrzwanzig will be able to do this with boots later on. They are running out of item locations at stages, so that Mrzwanzig picking up those boots have some more options now. With Desert and Mire, he's gonna have Mire access soon. He's gonna get the Ether after he picks up this big key. See, there's a big key. This first chest here in ice is always very important. If this is a small key, it changes your route significantly. And here is Ether for Mrzwanzig and a piece of heart in ice. Ugh. Well, Mrzwanzig, will you start off with Desert or Mire first, or do you have something else in mind? Apparently you don't have anything else in mind. And with the mirror out, Mrzwanzig starting off here with Desert. It's a very fast clear here for him. Well, he will have to use Master Sword or Hammer on that Molus. Mrzwanzig, you may or may not have forgotten something. This sometimes happens to everyone as Gloin gets the bomb jump on the first try. You get the item to get the big key, and you think you already have the big key, but you still need to go and pick up the big key in the first place. I mean, I gotten the green pendant and thought I got the green pendant item from Sahassola when I didn't. And when that item is silver arrows, you're very sad. And when that item is a piece of heart, you're also very sad. And Gloin is missing everything in here in ice. It's a single item for now. That's a big key, and a perfectly fine location, but Gloin is gonna make this bomb jump or attempted bomb jump. It's not one of the more common ones, and sadly no hook shot, so he can't get back to that big chest. How is he gonna route this now? It's a tough situation here for Gloin in ice. Could be spending a long time here. Mrzwanzig is gonna be fighting some Landmolus. And opting to use the Master Sword. You tend to prefer using Silver Arrows and or Fire Rod, possibly Ice Rod, but in this situation you're limited to the Sword or Hammer. Oh, there's a bigger sword in ice. That's not the worst thing in the world. Not really what Gloin was looking for. Then Molus has been taken down by Mrzwanzig and will be rewarded a map, but also with that his second crystal. This is one of the trickier bomb jumps. It is actually easier than it looks, but you don't have to do this very often. You don't tend to be as practiced with it. Oh, Mrzwanzig, are you not making the dip into mire? Oh, Gloin, unfortunately not getting that bomb jump. Mrzwanzig is a bit uncertain on where he wants to go now. There we go. Gloin getting the bomb jump in the end. And Mrzwanzig won't start off here with the bonk locations. Piece of heart. Still nice to get some hearts since they're only on green mail, or Mrzwanzig is still only on green mail. The mail upgrade that Gloin picked up was on the pyramid, and Mrzwanzig has not been there. That's the map in ice. And the king was buried with only a quarter of a heart. That's the third item in Ice Palace, I believe. Piece of heart, big heart, and a sword upgrade, so there's nothing in ice. So Gloin now has to head to Colstair. And Mrzwanzig is making the trip into ice as well. He's gonna be able to do this dungeon faster having the boots. But he's also just gonna find a sword upgrade here. Well, it does look like we are likely heading into Mire at some point and trying to find something there. The potential one-off locations up on Death Mountain, including the Tower of Hera basement, the depths of Thieves Town. It's pretty interesting with that early big key, and big key, I believe that must have a small key, right? Ice Palace confuses me. Because Ice Palace is rarely done in logic because of the bomb jump. Gloin has to use the bombs here on the first phase of Colstair. Will then try and get a first spin in to get the three eye puff thingies into the corner. Sadly spins too early, and this is now a really difficult fight. He's low on hearts, and I'm pretty certain he has not filled up this potion with anything. There's a good spin there, getting hits on two of them. Unfortunately, he does have this blue mail to help him try and cut down the damage. He's gonna bring out the Cane of Bitterness to help out some invincibility. He does have half magic. Mrzwanzig gets both Staffels down with one bomb, and Gloin gets the kill. Will only have a small key. Crystal number 2 for Gloin. Nothing in terms of progression for him. He needs to make that trip over into Palace of Darkness to get the boots. But on the other hand, these boots haven't unlocked any new items at this point. But with this location that gloin is in right now, this looks like Pod. He's already been into Eastern, he's already been at Sahasrara. This is most certainly a rough sea. We're approaching the hour mark in only 2 crystals piece here. We're still looking for the bow. We're looking for both rods. We're looking for the hook shot. If we're gonna talk pedestal index at this point, all of these items except for the fire rod can be on the pedestal. Except, yeah, the bow can also not be there. Actually, my bad. The Quake could still be required for Turtle Rock, so that could also be on the pedestal potentially. The ice rod alongside the hook shot. I don't know why I was thinking that, oh, the bow can be on pedestal. No, wait, they need to do Eastern. And the gloin is going to be locked out of Palace of Darkness here. Because sadly there is no small key in this first chest. It's just boots. Gloin taking a moment to think. Just wait, what? Are you kidding me? Boots in first chest? We do know that there's still an item in the Tower of Hera basement. Only 2 items were found in Pen & Thieves. Armos has an item in Eastern. Skullwoods, Mothula has the green pendant, so that's still a potential item there. Gloin is gonna start this off by finding 2 heart pieces. Now it's time for Mrzwanzig here to do this bomb jump. Ooh, we did get across. That looked a bit weird because of that enemy flying floaty thingy, whatever it's called, getting him very close to him. And gloin, where are you heading now? Okay, also going to buy a potion. Which Mr. Mrzwanzig has already done. And of course, Spy Cave has still not been checked. So going up the tower, or to Death Mountain right now means that you have Super Bounty Cave for 2 items, Tower of Hera Basement for 1 item, and finally Spy Cave for 1 item. And gloin wants to go straight into Mire. Not going desert right now. He did get that ether very early on. So there could be a line of thinking here that his opponent may not have that. May not have made this trip already. Or possibly that just, okay, I'm gonna do Mire now and then I'm gonna do Desert immediately after. I mean, it's perfectly logical. It's 2 crystals. And I do believe 1 item has already been found over in Desert, so there is 1 more item here in Mire. On the other hand, this is Mire. This is a very rough seed. A small key in the first chest of Mire. See how Mrzwanzig handles Coles there. We get the first spin here right. Oh! The icicle. Has to try and maneuver around here. Oh, the fire rod is in mire! You could have had that fire rod for Ice Palace. So now you can get the green pendant in Skullwoods. You can check a few more, or several more item locations in Turtle Rock. And that's about it as Mrzwanzig has taken down Coles there. There's still one more item here inside of Mire. Gloin is also gonna have this fire rod now for Landmolus. Mrzwanzig did have to do that fight with the Master Sword. Gloin having Tempered and Fire Rod means that he will be able to do that fight faster. Well, the Baking is in a very convenient location. Will Gloin keep on shaking chests or hope that Vitris has the second item? Mrzwanzig is heading the same direction now. You can see how close our players are here. Gloin does have Desert to do, but Desert is very fast. Oh, it was a heart piece as well over in Mire. I must have missed that one. Cannot keep track of everything. I do my best. So both items for Gloin, very quick Mire. At least the sea has been nice in some ways. Mrzwanzig is not gonna toss the bird. But where will you go with this fire rod? Do you want to go back into Skullwoods and get the pendant? Do you want to finally make the trip to Dark Death Mountain and see if you can even enter Turtle Rock in the first place? Definitely some interesting questions here. It's a really good Mire. Nothing in the big chest, nothing in the vanilla big key location. They can still go into swamp, but you never want to go into swamp without a hookshot. This has just been a very rough sea to watch. Mrzwanzig gets his fire rod now. They're running out on overworld locations outside of Dark Death Mountain. Sooner or later you will need that information. Will I need to try and find Quake? Gloin has slain the Beholder. And now he knows where the Beholder is. I look away for 2 seconds and I see that Mrzwanzig has taken an extremely unfortunate death. And sadly, having to redo this first, technically second room in Mire is very painful. But this is dangerous still. You have low hearts, you're still on green mail. Blue mail that Gloin found was on the pyramid. But since Mrzwanzig has already checked Catfish, Hype Cave, Pod, Eastern Sahasrara and all of those, it's a very out-of-the-way item location for him. And since Pyramid Fairy requires Swamp and Turtle Rock, could just be in go mode at that point. Yep, heart piece in the big chest. I completely missed the second item in Mire, and I missed it this time as well, because here's the big key. Gloin may have thought that he had the mirror location to the west entrance. Sadly, he did not, because he went in from the main entrance after mirroring from Mystery Mire. More often than not, this west entrance in Desert Palace tends to be the actual main entrance in Randomizer. Because for some reason, you tend to find everything else before you find the book. No time for a boss fight apiece here. I mean, this is an extremely close race at this point. The seed hasn't really given a lot of opportunities for route diversion. I mean, Mrzwanzig did find the early myths, but they didn't really give him anything. We'll need the bow, the ice rod, and the hookshot, and potentially Quake for Turtle Rock, and still past an hour here and still looking for so many items. We'll move up to 4 crystals here soon. And already made a dip into Palace of Darkness, can't return without the bow. And Mrzwanzig did have the boots, or a bottle with blue goo inside of it. So you could have done the bottle glitch to send it to. Oh, Mrzwanzig. That's unfortunate. You have to flip the switch. And then Mola's done significantly faster using this fire rod. Crystal number 4 for Gloin. This is what you got with the boots. You got these 2 crystals and you got the fire rod. Where's your next destination? We are finally going to see this trip to Dark Death Mountain. Will we see Tower of Hera Basement? Will we see Spy Cave? Will Quake be required for Turtle Rock? Gloin remembering he does not have the hookshot, he has to take the other way around. And this duck is being put to good use. And Mrzwanzig also takes down Vitreous as Gloin gets blocked by a dead rock. And will definitely be putting this duck to good use. He's gonna need a long break after this seed. Mrzwanzig, you have pretty much the same locations to check at this point. Yep. And this is how close this race is. Very few item locations that separate our players right now. Gloin having that blue mail from the pyramid may just be the only thing at this point. Gloin is skipping the Hera basement. It's a long wait, to say the least, for one item. Will Mrzwanzig also skip this? Ooh. Now they may go back and do this after. If they don't find anything, do the Hera basement into Spy Cave. The moment of truth here. Do we need to find Quake? No, it is Ether. And with that, we can say that this Bombos has not been required because you could do Ice Palace with the Fire Rod. So they actually haven't found anything of value in Thieves Town. We did find the Bombos and the Half Magic there, but nothing in terms of progression. You know, Mrzwanzig is also going to open this up. Will we get to see a trip into Turtle Rock? I mean, if you don't find anything in here, it's 20 rupees. We've seen a lot of them. And we have Super Bunny Cave with 2 more items. What do we have in here? Yes, more rupees. Yep, yes, more rupees. Turtle Rock. Swamp Palace. Harrow Basement. Spike Cave. And the Depths of Thieves Town. And Green Pendant from Skullwoods. Feel like that's where we are right now. And Gloin has decided Turtle Rock is the play. Does have the mirror in hand, and Mimic Cave is also available to check. And small key in the first chest. Turtle Rock is one of the 2 Pyramid Fairy crystals, the other one being Swamp. So technically, only the bow can be there, in terms of items that are necessary to beat the seed. Yeah, Gloin realizing there, oh yeah, I don't have the hook shot. I have to do this the intended way. And that means Mrzwanzig has to be very careful with his heart count. And Gloin has taken out the cane of Berna here, stashing through the room to get a key and a map. You're not happy to see the map that early. Not at all. There's 2 small keys on the map for now. I'm pretty certain we're looking forward to finding something on Laser Bridge. I mean, if you want to be really rude at this point, there is still the mushroom and the shovel in terms of fetch. We do know that the cape only gives, what, 20 rupees? This is likely an intentional death here from Mrzwanzig to teleport himself back to the entrance and get some more life. Never mind, there's the hookshot. Yeah, hookshot is in Turtle Rock. So I'm pretty certain we'll be seeing a trip into Swamp Palace after this. And if they can find the Ice Rod in here, that puts Pyramid Fairy in logic. Suddenly the seed may just work out. Gloin has to be very careful here with only 1.5 heart. Does have the powder for the anti-fairies. And Mrzwanzig picks up his hookshot. Gloin even taking a hit there from the anti-fairy afterwards. Yeah, that bunny sprite Gloin has is truly something. And Gloin with the big key. And Mrzwanzig is not too far behind. It does still seem unlikely that we will be seeing a Go Mode Swamp in this seed. It is a long dungeon, it's 6 items. But if you can Go Mode Swamp, you will prefer to do that. In time for that Mimic Cave. There's a couple of locations here where the ice rod can be to avoid a double dip into Turtle Rock. I'm not so sure our players are putting their hopes up for that. They will hope for it, of course. You know, this is Randomizer. Oh yeah, I did mention the shovel earlier, didn't I? Well, I guess I take full responsibility for that one. So often do you get to see the shovel in Mimic Cave. So, save and quit to Link's house, you check the shovel location, and then you head into Swamp. It seems like a pretty good idea. Or is there a small key here? Nope. So there is at least a small key over on Laser Bridge. Also still looking for the compass, I believe. Save and quit faster than Mirror Flute to get to 4. I don't know. I honestly do not know. Maybe our players will know and we will have to wait and see. It is unlikely that they will not be making the trip over to Swamp after this, unless they find the bow here. The 20 rupees here on the first chest of Laser Bridge. Piece of heart. And we do know that there is a small key here. Well, that's 10 arrows, and the last one will be a small key, and that means the ice rod is still out there somewhere. And I'm pretty certain that's a compass on Trinex. Gloin is going to save and quit. And start off here by checking the shovel spot. Now, if the ice rod is in Swamp, or if it's in from this shovel location, or possibly anything that may come from these two item locations, this is a forced double dip into Turtle Rock. Where are you going, Mr. Mrzwanzig? Oh, no. We're not doing this, Seed. We are not doing this. What in the world? First we get the bottle into powder, and now we get shovel into mushroom? Well, sure, they have the flute, easy to check. Mrzwanzig, I feel like just left pretty early here. Oh, there's the bow! Of course! There's the bow! Well, I think we'll be seeing Palace of Darkness before Swamp Palace then. So bow, hook, shot, and bow in Turtle Rock. Of course. Now, let's think for a moment. Where was the fire rod? Where was the fire rod again? I'm trying to think where it was. It was in Mire, and that means it was locked behind boots. So this is forced double dip into Palace of Darkness. Yep, forced double dip into Palace of Darkness. And very likely forced double dip into Turtle Rock as well. All depends on where the ice rod is. It could still be in Tower of Hera basement or Spy Cave. There's the red boomerang over in Hookshot Cave. I feel like the silver arrows were in escape or something like that. And now they finally pick up the bow. Now Mrzwanzig, are you gonna check the Hera basement? We've been waiting for this for a very long time. It is a big time investment, and we know that it can only be the ice rod there. In terms of items for progression, sure, a sword upgrade isn't the worst thing in the world, but they already have tempered, so... Gloin is proceeding through the Palace of Keys. Yep. Please don't talk about the book. Oh dear. Oh dear. Mrzwanzig here is a professional tile dodger. A big key in vanilla location in Palace of Darkness. Okay. Guess the seed is doing this now. Another small key. And all that for a piece of heart in the Tower of Hera basement. Oh, time for Spy Cave then. Yeah, we're gonna be making the trip into Spy Cave. Gloin still just finding small keys. And the big key. It looked like Gloin there wanted to try and set up the bomb jump on the bridge, but decided against it. It does have the mirror, so it's not as important. And Spy Cave with... well, there's the mail upgrade. The other one, of course, being on the pyramid. Not the worst thing, but uncertain if it's worth the time investment. The compass and 20 rupees in the big rupee room here in the dark for Gloin. The trip's not working out for Mr. Mrzwanzig. But with this, he will get his bow. Assuming he's gonna check the mushroom location immediately. And there's the map in Palace of Darkness. Double fetch. Oh, there's the other boomerang in Palace of Darkness as well. The red boomerang being in Hookshot Cave, I mean. And 20 rupees in the big chest. And there's the map and the compass, as we can see. So Helmasaur King does have an item. And here's the bow for Mrzwanzig. This is a really rude location to put the bow in. Shovel from Mimic Cave into Mushroom into bow. Wow. That's all I have to say. Now, if the Ice Sword is not found in Palace of Darkness, or in Swamp Palace, Gloin could just go back and check these item locations that Mrzwanzig just checked. There's still some possibilities here for the sea to keep on delivering. With delivering, I mean be really, really awful. Do you have forced double dip into Palace of Darkness? I was gonna say potentially there, but maybe at this point it's actually confirmed that it is a forced double dip into Turtle Rock. I'm trying to think of potential item locations. Oh yeah, back of Thieves Town and Green Pen and Skullwoods. I still call that double dip because you're gonna go into Turtle Rock before you do that in most situations. If you do have the book and you've checked pedestal and you know there's something there, then obviously you will be doing the pendant onion. And that's the thing, if you have the book and can check the pedestal and you see there's something on the pedestal, then you know, oh, I had to go and do all the pendant onions. But if you don't have the book, you don't actually know. It's a very first match here for Gloin and Mr. Mrzwanzig in this best of 3. And it's a very straightforward fight for Gloin on Helmasaur King. So which item will you hide for us? Yeah, piece of heart. That is his 13th heart container. Very likely now making the trip over to Swamp. 5 crystals. At 1 hour 26. Yikes, and still not in go mode. Yeah, it's gonna be the swamp play here for gloin. It is a crystal that he can full clear. But it is swamp and it is long. But it is 6 items. Swamp is so anticlimactic in that sense. You want to go mode it, but there's 6 items in there. And Mrzwanzig just continuing plowing through Palace of Darkness. There wasn't anything in here. But will Swamp have the Ice Rod? I guess there is still that potential book situation. You still want the book. I'm pretty certain if you do want that pedestal seed, you don't want to see the book. Since the book will allow them to check that. And then just go mode Thieves Town. Oh, that's not something you say every day. Go mode Thieves Town. How does that even work? You say like, what, 10 seconds? There is still that item on Armos. Oh no. First we have to get through Swamp. Oh, there's the Ice Rod, never mind. In go mode. Sorry everyone, I know you wanted something more, but I think the seed has already delivered enough. So gloin is in go mode, finding the Ice Rod. Confirmed double dip into Turtle Rock. And of course, confirmed double dip into Palace of Darkness as well. And this definitely puts gloin in the lead, having already cleared Palace of Darkness. And you do get to go mode Swamp in the end. It's interesting. Or well, you get to check that first chest, but you know, it's not too big of a time loss. So Thieves Town was not required the seed, despite the fact that it had Bombos on half magic. And Skull Woods, of course, having the Titansmiths. And Eastern Palace having the Ether Medallion required for both Mire and Turtle Rock. Boots in the first chest of Palace of Darkness. Players being locked away from doing the Tower of Hera basement, and then there was this piece of heart there. Double fetch from Mimic Cave into Bow. Yeah, I say the seed has delivered. Perhaps not in the way that our players wanted it to. And that is a good point bringing up here in chat. You either double dip Turtle Rock or you double dip Swamp. Now, would you rather double dip Turtle Rock or double dip Swamp? Remember that the double dip Swamp is without hookshot and you have to check left side and walk back up twice. And that's also a good point, since the hookshot was that early on. Could actually have done Turtle Rock in one sequence. But that is just another of these situations where if you don't have the hookshot, you don't want to go into Swamp in the first place. Because you really don't want to do the left side, you just want to kill Coldstare really fast like Gloin just did to get the compass. Or maybe not the compass, but a bottle or something like that. That is more valuable going into your final crystal done. Overall, this was a pretty weird seed when you think about it logically, because of the location of the Ice Rod and the hookshot. Oh, did I say Coldstare instead of Argus? That's not the first time I've said that. They're both puffballs in different ways. And they're cute in monstrous fashion. Well, gloin is gonna be making his trip back into Turtle Rock. Ice Palace could of course have been go-moded this seed, only having a sword upgrade. On the other hand, this means you go into Ganon's castle with only the Master Sword. You tend to want to have at least Tempered going into Ganon. There's a lot of small things in this seed that you can really spend some time thinking about how you would have done it differently. Do you skip out on Thieves Town? It was not required. Do you full clear Thieves Town? That was also not required. Neither player did it. They found Bombos and half magic. The Bombos was not required this seed, because the Fire Rod was in Mire, and as stated, Ice Palace did not have anything. Am I just saying every single word wrong right now? I think I am. Anyway, gloin is dodging the chain chomps. Mrzwanzig is gonna be in go mode in now. So it's been a long seed. But, I mean, it could still have been worse. I'm not really gonna think about that for now. I'm definitely not gonna say that the big key could be in Tile Room. I'm really not going to say that. Not under any circumstances. Yeah, gloin. It's a bit tricky sometimes to get that king in the right position. And the thing with double dipping Swamp is you never want to double dip Swamp. So you tend to just end up double dipping Turtle Rock instead. But it may just be better to double dip Swamp. But as stated, you never want to go into Swamp unless you have the hook shot in the first place. It's just this very weird thing in that people just don't like to do Swamp. Swamp isn't like Ice Palace in terms of like-dislike. It could just simply also be that this version of the logic tends to put good stuff in Turtle Rock. So we're thinking a lot of meta strats here, as gloin is tempting to get a zero cycle, but the second head not really working out that well for him. A thing you also bear in mind is that when you're playing a seed, you don't know where these items are, so you're trying to route based on the information that you have. And in this situation where you don't have the book to check the pedestal or the tablets or anything like that, you're also limited in terms of the information. There are many interesting questions that you can ask yourself. You can also ask yourself where the big key is in Ganon's tower. Like, 22 possible item locations where it could be. I also heard that if you're the first person to guess right and you're a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming channels, and donated a total of 250 bits, you'll enter the leaderboard. I also heard that this game may not be open for very long. because gloin is already heading in here, so you better get your answers in very soon. In we go. Well, contest is not particularly exciting either. It's 20 rupees, it is a force left side. Ganon's Tower. Meanwhile, Mrzwanzig still has to go through Turtle Rock again. And Bob is gonna live. Sadness. So much sadness. Maybe the skeletons will hide it today. That's always nice, you don't get to kill any of them. I was gonna start asking, where are the small keys in here, but maybe they will start coming out. Yeah, there we go, there are the small keys. Now just find that other key. There we go. Perfect. So, there, all the keys have been found, and that is item location number 7 for the big key in this situation. And our closest guesser today was Icy Soul 556. Congratulations. Now, Ford's left side, and with the big key being on left side, very convenient. And also means that Mrzwanzig is not gonna save any time there. That was a very smooth walking experience there through the Cannonball Bridge, or whatever it's called. I hereby declare the Cannonball Bridge. Gloin is entering the gauntlet. Mrzwanzig is taking a trip here in a very dark room. Ganon balls, I like that one. Can't the blue balls also technically be Ganon balls? These are the very important questions that we never ask. And probably shouldn't be asking. Gloin is gonna skip out on the anti-fairy. And opting to use silver arrows on that Molus too. It's a very smooth one cycle. Gloin is just skipping everything right now. He feels really confident, or he feels behind. It is also a segment where players of this caliber, they've done this likely upwards 100 times. They're very well experienced. As I curse him, my bad. Also, Mrzwanzig is taking down Trinex. And Mrzwanzig will soon enter Ganon's Tower. Unfortunately for him, he is quite far behind. Gloin is not interested in checking any more item locations. He feels like he has everything he needs. I feel like I still haven't found the sand card, so that is the only thing, but here's the full refill regardless. That's a different heart. Oh, that was A really nice ricochet from Moldorm, like extremely good performance by Moldorm in that situation that has definitely put in a lot of practice to make sure he got that one perfectly. And of course, very unfortunate for gloin. That's how the fight is supposed to go. Just an error capacity upgrade in our final chest. Time for some Aga too for gloin. How well will the patterns be today? That was a really good first pattern, not quite getting the triple though. That's one of the worst situations to get a blue ball. Okay, I mean, Aga is not giving bad patterns, as to speak, but just blue balls everywhere. Mrzwanzig has managed to find the big key. Okay, this Aga fight is just not being nice right now. Gloin is gonna take down Aghanim and put the duck to some final use. It's gonna head into the final challenge of the run. Unfortunately for you, Ganon, the mushroom was handed over to the witch. The butter sword was not found. We did bring the powder for the spices, but unfortunately we have nothing to sprinkle it on. There's a really good pattern here to stand in this area and spin away. Gloin is already in phase 3. And not all that many teleportations here today. And the arrows were indeed found. One shot, one torch. Oh, very nice double there. Gloin will get just one final hit in. And ladies and gentlemen, Gloin is your victor in this first best of 3 match in the round of 128 players. Good game, well played. As the domination of Dr. Wily has been ended. He finishes with an official Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour 44 minutes 11 seconds. We will see if we can get Gloin in for a potential interview. Mrzwanzig has taken down Moldorm and will also be making his trip into Aga too. Now this pattern here from Aga was quite nice, but then just the blue balls came like that. Dragging him down for Mrzwanzig, just has the final encounter remaining. And we are now joined here by Gloin. Good game, well played.
Was that?
So, what do you think about the seed?
I was on tilt pretty much the whole time, but I kind of went back and thought about what was actually required, and that was a nightmare, as it kind of felt like.
It's definitely a seed that took you a bit all over the place for a good portion of it. How do you feel finding those boots in Palace of Darkness?
Yeah, I was really confused throughout that stretch, and I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. And then I wasn't able to like go into pod, so I'm like, well, what does this unlock? And it kind of just required me to go into Mire after the Bog Rocks and King's Tomb. And then from there, the seed kind of led me along on the right path after that with Fire Rod. Kind of said, well, do TR. TR gave me some items. It was kind of unfortunate that I wasn't a required double dip of TR. And there was a time where I was thinking about going into Swamp earlier, but I don't usually go into Swamp without Hookshot unless there's really nothing left for me to do.
And the Turtle Rock ending up having both the hookshot and the bow via a pretty long fetch chain there.
Yeah, the dream, right?
It was definitely an interesting race to watch, I will say that much.
Yeah, like thinking back, there's a lot of parts I don't even remember what I did. Just trying to I was trying to think through like what the intended logic was, like what were you supposed to do it ideally, and it just doesn't make sense in my head. I was really worried after I left Turtle Rock because I'd gotten Hookshot so early, I'd forgotten about Hookshot Cave completely. And after I had left, I was like, oh no, please, don't have anything in there.
The early game didn't end up bringing all that many items for you. So can you describe a little bit about how you decided to go about in the early stages?
Yeah, I had done all the flipper stuff, and I didn't have mitts, so I had to kind of get as much overworld done as possible, kind of one sweep. So I just said, well, I'll just do a big circle. So I entered West's Dark World side and then just kind of went around. I was hoping Thieves Town was a crystal. Of course, feels like it's a pendant 70% of the time. So I just did the front, got the 2 items, felt comfortable just leaving, and just continuing around the circle, and still really didn't find anything. You mean Cane is a progression item, but it doesn't doesn't give me anything. So then I went back and said, well, I guess I'll check Skullwoods, check Bumper, check Graveyard Ledge. And fortunately, picked up Mitts. Ice Palace. I think I did Ice Palace shortly after that. Felt like I did like Mire area. Ice Palace was something I could fully clear, even though I didn't have a hook shot. Hadn't done it in a while, so I screwed up that bomb jump a few times, but I eventually got it, unfortunately. And then that's kind of where I was really stuck. So I thought, well, I just got the lamp, so maybe it's deep pod. So I went into pod, and then it's kind of just led me through the rest of the seed after that.
It was definitely a seed. We're also now joined by Mr. Mrzwanzig, who finished with an official speed racing TV time of 1 hour 48 minutes 51 seconds. How are you feeling right now?
Pretty good, honestly. I mean, I wasn't really expecting to win in the first place, and I actually quite enjoyed this seed. I thought it was pretty fun. Gloin already kind of described it as being quite a mess, which, I mean, I agree with, but I thought it was messy in kind of the fun way, where there was a lot of stuff that we could do, and there wasn't really, like, one obvious play, but it also wasn't like you constantly had to go, like, travel a minute for one item or something. There was just, like, a lot of choice, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, if we're gonna talk about how close you were, the defining factor in the seed was actually you checking Hookshot Cave, Tower of Hera, Basement, and Spy Cave.
Yeah, that kind of felt like it, like, especially with the way I did it, having to, like, climb all the way back around. Yeah, that was probably, like, at least 2 to 3 minutes all its own. At least I got blue mail.
Yeah, you didn't get the mail upgrade that was on the pyramid.
Yeah, that was a thing that I kind of orphaned earlier on, and I was gonna go do it if Swamp ended up being a bust, but yeah. I mean, the seed the entire time I was like, I don't like metagaming to like change your strats around to begin with, but this seed, it was impossible to metagame because there were like a million different scenarios, so like that was totally impossible. But I did feel like I was probably just going to be behind just because my execution was just kind of bad all across the board for the most part. So yeah, that and the death run checks at the end, I feel probably cost me it, which is, you know, understandable.
This was definitely a seed that was a bit all over the place, with the Mitts in Skullwoods, King of Samaria at Catfish, Boots in Palace of Darkness, Fire Rod in Mystery Mire, the lamp being on the Desert Ledge. Got some early information on that. Neither of you could check the Tower of Hera Basement. Starting with you, Gloin, what did you feel like exiting Tower of Hera after that visit?
Yeah, I don't mind skipping that generally. In that scenario, I probably would have checked it because I was looking for, I think at that point I was still missing Moon Pearl.
Yeah, Moon Pearl was on East Death Mountain.
Right, so I'm not going to leave that behind, find nothing on East Death Mountain, and then climb back up. So I probably would have checked it, but then as the seed kind of opened up, it did enter my mind when leaving Ice Palace. I was kind of doing an inventory of everything I could do, but I don't use a map tracker, which was really bad for this seed because there was no flow to it. So there were times where I'm like, did I check that? Did I check that? And then yeah, it was kind of awful.
And as for you, Mr. Mrzwanzig, you also made this trip into Ice Palace. You just ended up getting a sword upgrade, but you also went in without the hook shot. Can you explain why you decided to make that play?
If anything, I should have really done it earlier. Well, I don't know. Swamp was, or Ice was available pretty early on whenever I got Bombos. I forget where that was. The only reason I didn't do it... Oh, okay, yeah. The only reason I didn't do it earlier was just because my equipment was bad and I felt like I was going to die.
Both of you went... Yeah, well, both of you went into Thieves Town and checked the first 4 chests, found Bombos and half magic, and then you bailed. Starting with you, Mr. Mrzwanzig, why did you leave at that moment?
I mean, there was a fair amount to do outside of Thieves Town. Because I think that was before either of us went up to Death. No, wait, that was after that. I don't see. This is the thing with this seed. It was such a mess. It's like impossible to remember what even happened.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The only time I definitely would full clear Thieves Town there, get like 100% full clear it every time, is like if I have to enter Dark World via Aghanim and then go clockwise around Dark
yeah,
World, and
then you
like,
definitely do.
yeah, it's like impossible to get back. So that would be a time where I would definitely full clear it. And maybe if it's the green pendant, it's a little bit more enticing. But in that situation, I can just check for. I mean, I can always come back if the seed is looking good.
I was also pretty sad once I found the Fire Rod in Mire, because I was like, I did Desert, and I was like, I can do Mire right now. But I have the silvers and I don't have the bow. Can I please just get the bow before this? So I went and did Ice. Which was then, like, after I found the Fire Rod in Mire, I was like, well, could have had a much better Cold Stare fight, because that was terrible, because I'm really bad at, like, timing the start of it with Bombos. I always mistime it then when I use Bombos.
Yeah, I usually don't mistime it, and I mistime it because, like I said earlier, I was on tilt the whole time, so it's a pretty disastrous fight for me too.
Well, this is definitely one of those seeds that you can dig really deep in. But, congratulations to both of you finishing the seed, and to you, Gloin, bringing up 1-0 in this best of 3. Your rematch is tomorrow in pretty exactly 24 hours, I believe.
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, in that case, I think it's about time that we've wrapped this up. So thank you very much to both you, Gloin and Mr. Mrzwanzig. Also, thank you to our tracker today, Arboretic, for helping out behind the scenes. If you're looking for more, a link to the past randomizer. This very minute, I believe, Lyra GG versus Nikki Noel, Game 2 should start up on ALTTP Randomizer. And then in 30 minutes, we have Encosta versus G3RD0 on ALTTP Randomizer 2. Shisame versus Trank over on Speed Gaming 5, and then we just have more matches coming up for the rest of the day. There's a lot of random going on right now. And of course, be sure to follow all of our Twitch channels at Speed Gaming 1-6 and ALTTP Randomizer 1-4. And I've been Mrzwanzig, and we all here at Speed Gaming hope to see you all in the not too distant future.